We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. You're back on the air with the Restaurant Brokers, Eric and Robin Gagnon, and we have such a super great guest today. Most people recognize him by the Chef Irvine from Restaurant Impossible. That's right. He is here with us today, star of a 36-hour, $10,000 challenge to save a restaurant from impending failure. You know, since 2011, they have filmed 7 seasons, over 80 episodes, and have a success rate of over 80%.
Yeah, Robert, you're pretty direct with people, and I am the same way. As I get older, I'm getting a bit better at my delivery, and you are very good at that. And you personally inspire me sometimes, to how to talk better to restaurant owners, but with a harsh reality. I mean, you have to be real. I mean, these people sometimes are against the wall or really close to be on the edge of the cliff here, and a lot of them, resist on your show. And we have the same thing, like you said, they know everything. So how is that critical for other people in the industry to come in and really, instead of saying, hey, you want to sell me something and I just want to buy it, to be that kind of person, to be, hey, this is some of your challenges and we're here to help you?
Well, I think first of all, people, and I face this every day, people, they want your help, but they're afraid to ask for your help and they're afraid to share with you their woes, as it were, where they need help. And that's not just a restaurant business, that's every business. I deal with businesses from $500,000 or $300,000 all the way up to $70 billion. So it's a common thread between those businesses. People just have to understand that, when you're losing money, there's a solution to stop that bleeding. And if you don't know it, somebody else does. And you've got to trust that person and do your research on that person. Let's face it, with the internet now, you can check anybody. You can check their success. You can call around to where they've worked before, they've helped before. It's not like we're in the dark ages. Technology, again, is helping us find those people, and get that done right. And I do that all the time. I may not pick the first person I interview, but at least I've got background information and know that they saved a restaurant up the road or a company up the road and they've done this and they've done that.
Right. So, Robert, let me ask you this. What is your favorite part of mentoring these restaurant owners?
The success of them. When the moment happens, and it's normally 8 hours and 1 minute into my show, that they realize that you're there to help them and not to ridicule or hurt them. There's that aha moment that they really get what you're trying to tell them. And for me, that is the epitome of what I do. God gives us all a gift, and our gift is supposed to help those less fortunate. And I live that life with my family, my workers, my co-workers, my companies, to try and bring that hope and joy back to those people who have lost it, and the passion. There's never a bad day. If you think you're having a bad day, think about one of the wounded warriors or things that were blown up in Iraq and have two limbs missing, or that's hard life. Think about other people when you're having a bad day.
That's so true, and that's very well put. Robert, a lot of people talk about being owner absentee, and you have, your show. You do own some restaurants, and your restaurants are still successful. So, what is the key to obviously you're hiring good people, but what advice would you have for people that do want to have multiple units and things like that to hire good management?
And one of the things for me is and I can answer that very bluntly because I got asked a question yesterday. One of the things for me is I advocate the owners being on the premises. I do. My businesses are restaurants, clothing, food, sports. They're very diverse, which keeps me on the road 345 days a year. I'm on the road. So I cannot be in the restaurant every day, and I was for years. I've set up systems in place and cameras and standing operating procedures, and then I've hired good people to follow my vision and made them partners in that restaurant. So they have a vested interest in it. And I also can check in at 11:01 every night and see what my restaurant's doing. I have great CPAs that keep an eye on it. So I'm very hands-on even though I'm not there. I have cameras I can check in any kitchen at any point in time from where I am. So I'm on it. I mean, I caught one of my guys smoking when I was in Tokyo when there was 2 chickens hanging once, and I ripped them apart. So it's kind of funny. Big Brother's watching you.
Absolutely. And it is a team approach, right? When you go into a restaurant, it's not on the shoulders of one person.
No, they've got it. Your team has to be as much into feeding the guest and doing an amazing job as you are. They've got to be vested in that business, otherwise it won't work. So
the buying of the team and the buying of the front of the house, back of the house, this is so critical also we see on your show. Everybody has to buy in to continued success and to carry this to the end, because not one person can carry the entire restaurant to profitability.
That's correct.
Good. Well, Robert, we want to thank you so much for your time today on our show, We Sell Restaurants. I tell you what, Eric, it is very, very rare that you find someone who is both a television star, really a culinary superstar in this world that has such down-to-earth business sense. I mean, we have run into a lot of celebrity chef types folks, and we've interviewed them all, and we find a lot of them are like customers. They are very, very good behind the stove, but not so good behind the calculator. Did you get a different impression with Robert Irvine today?
No, I think Robert is the real deal. He is the full package. I mean, he understands the front of the house, the back of the house. He understands what goes beyond the 4 walls of your restaurant, whether it's for the customers, with your family, with what's going on with your staff.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, it really struck a chord with me when he said that the highest failure rate of marriages were for those folks who were in the restaurant industry. And, as a husband and wife team, we do see that quite a bit, but I never really realized that it could be higher than in other industries, because the restaurant industry can be a little tough on families. That was sort of an eye-opener, don't you think?
It was. Good to hear, especially us as restaurant workers, is how critical your lease is. I mean, you have to really pay attention to your lease and not be emotional. We had previous shows that we talked about that, you don't fall in love with the space, and Robert today reiterated that. I mean, a superstar in the restaurant world says, hey, if Mr. Landlord wants too much money, be ready to walk. I mean, make sure the rent makes sense for you.
And I really like the fact that he said, listen, don't be embarrassed to ask for help. He is in a sort of mentoring role with Restaurant Impossible. He goes in and saves people, but there are all kinds of mentors and people you can build around you in this industry as a team that can help you to be successful, so that you don't have to put yourself on the rails and be one of those restaurants that's trending down and doesn't have the hope to lift yourself up. You're not an impossible situation. You have many, many possibilities when you build a great team around you. And to talk with some of the greatest minds in the industry today, Robert Irvine from Food Network. Reach out to us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. Remember that we will always pick up your comments on Facebook, reply to you there, or also respond to your tweets on our Twitter handle @SellRestaurant. We'll be back in just a moment with the Restaurant Broker take on restaurant reality. Hang on for us till after the break.